guys, welcome back to my channel Hire Me. Today I have come up with a topic about what is a string in Python. So let's begin. So let's first understand what is a string. So string is nothing but a series of alphabets or a series of words. A string in Python is always included either in a single inverted comma or in a double inverted comma. String is an immutable data type, which means once created, it cannot be changed. str, it is a built-in Python class for string. Now let's understand how we will be able to access a string. So there are two ways to access a string. The very first one is indexing and the second one is slicing. So why and how indexing and slicing are different in terms of accessing a string. So indexing is a way to access a single character of a string, whereas slicing is to access a range of characters. Moving to next, let's now understand what is a string indexing in detail. So, to access a string character, like to access a single character of a string, we will be using the string indexing. So, string indexing is nothing but accessing a character of a string by using its index number. So indexing comes with two types, a positive indexing and a negative indexing. So a positive indexing is nothing but the indexing which will start from 0th index character, that is from the start of the string. Let's understand with the help of example. I have taken a string Python. So in terms of positive indexing, if you want to access this word Python, you have to consider P, that is the very first character, or also known as the 0th index character. Okay, so you have to refer P at the index 0, followed by Y at index 1, T at index 2, H at index 3, O at index 4, and N at index 5. So this is a positive indexing. Now let's see how negative indexing is different from the positive indexing. So as we have just seen that positive indexing will start from left to right. So negative indexing will work in the opposite manner. That is, it will start from right to left of the string, which means it will start from the last character of the string to the first character of the string. Let's understand in terms of example. I have taken the same string Python. Now, whereas in positive indexing, we are referring P as our very first character by considering its index value as 0, in terms of negative indexing, we are going to access the string from end of the string. So here, the indexing always start from -1 and the last character will be denoted as -1. Here we have the last character as N and its index value will be -1, followed by O as 0, -2, H as -3, T is considered -4, Y is -5 and P will be -6. So this is a short information about positive and negative indexing. Moving to our next slide. Now let's understand what is a string slicing. So string slicing is used whenever we want to access a sequence of characters in a particular string. So here is the syntax of the string. Here the string represents the variable name to which you will be performing the slicing on. In the square brackets, you have three elements to be passed on. The very first is the start index. Second, after the colon, is the end index, and the third one is your step size. The colon here is also known as a slicing operator in terms of slicing. Now let's understand in detail what is the start index, what is an end index, and what is a step size. Default value of our start index is always going to be 0, which means it will always start from the 0th index of our string, that is the first character of our string. So start index is nothing but the index value of a string or character from where we want to start the access to the string. Included, it means whatever value you are going to pass as an start index value, that character is going to get included in our output. We'll understand it in more detail when we will be performing string slicing on our Jupyter notebook. Now let's understand what is the end index. The default value for our end index will be the length of the string, that is till the last character of the string. And end index will define where we want to end the access to a particular string. This output, this excluded here means the character at this index value will be excluded from our output. As I told you, we'll get to know more in detail how this thing is going to get included and excluded from our string in terms of output when we'll see our practical on the Jupyter notebook. The last parameter of our string slicing is step size. So the default value of our step size will be 1. So again, step size will also be divided in two parts, but one is a positive step size, one is a negative step size. And step size is something optional. So whenever we require a particular kind of an output, then only we will be using step size, or else the step size is most of the time omitted from our syntax or whenever we are going to perform the string slicing. So now let's move on to our Jupyter notebook and see how we're going to perform the string indexing and string slicing. Okay guys, now let's understand our string indexing and string slicing in detail. So here is our Jupyter notebook, and let's first understand what is indexing, and then we'll move to the string indexing and followed by the string slicing. Now this is a string or the word Python. So I have mentioned it very clearly what would be the positive indexing. So whenever you are going to follow the positive indexing, the indexing will start from the very first character of the string, and the index value will be 0 followed by the progressive numbers. Okay, whereas in terms of negative indexing, the indexing will always start from end of the string. Here the last character of the string is n, and here we have started, and the number denoted for this index value will be -1 followed by the progressive numbers. So this is in short about positive and negative indexing, how it is going to work. Okay, so do remember, positive index is always going to work from left to right of the string, whereas negative indexing is always going to work from right to left of the string. Hope this is clear. Now do remember, length of the string is always going to start from 1, whereas indexing is always going to start from 0. So let's take a practical look about it. Length of a string. So this is one string s1 to which I have assigned the value robotics. Let's find the length of the string. So if you find the length of s1, that is of the word robotics, the length is 8, as you can see on the screen. Now try to access the index of the very first character, like s1 dot index of r, it's 0, and of the last character s1 dot index of s, it's 7. As you can see, length is 8, but the last character's index value is 7. So this is the difference between slicing and indexing. Now let's understand the string indexing in detail. Now let's take the same example of the string s1. So let's perform the indexing on this. Suppose now you want to print the letter b. So b is here. As you can see, lengthwise the b is the third character. So just -1 a number from the length of the character. Like b is at the third place, just minus it by 1 and mention it as 2. s1 of 2 will come as t. Let's try and access the character t. So as you know, b is at the second index. Let's calculate what would be the index value of t. Going from b, it's 2, o will be 3, and our t will be 4. Let's check it out. s1 of 4, yay, that's correct. s1 of 4 is the index value t. Hope this indexing is clear with you. In case if you have any doubts, let us know in the comment section below. We will be happy to answer your questions. Moving on to next, string slicing. So let's recall the syntax of string slicing. So as we know, string slicing have this syntax where this will be s1 or whatever the string value will variable will be, you will be assigning it here. Then providing the start index, the end index, and the step size. An important point to recall here is whatever the character will be there at our end index, it will not get included in our output. Make a note of it. Now let's move to our example. So I have taken this new string s1. Okay, let's take a new string s1. I have given the value as logical. Let's run it. Okay, now I want to access the whole string. To access the whole string by using the slicing, you can keep the bracket blank. I will just tell you how you can do it. Let's mention s1 of, let's keep the start index value as default. Don't mention anything. Then colon, and don't write any end index value as in, and just print it. Here you have access the whole string. Now in case if you want to write the start index, you can write it as 0 followed by the end index, keeping it blank. Here in this way you can access the whole string in two ways. So either you can keep this end index and start index values as blank, only providing the colon or the slicing operator, you can access the whole string, or you can just mention the start index as 0 and you can just keep the end index as empty and you will be able to access the whole string. Now suppose I want to access only the first 3 characters of the string. How I can do it? It's just simple. Just mention s1 of 0, that would be our start index, as L is at 0, and what is the index value of G? I just want to access LOG. So what will be the index of G? It's L will be 0, O will be 1, and G will be 2. That's correct. But as we know, end index character value will not be printed in the output. So we have to just add 1 plus to the end index value. That means if G is at the index 2, we have to pass the end index as 3. Here we go. We have the desired output. Let me just show you, in case if you are writing the index value of G itself, what is going to happen. Now 0 is to 2. That is the index value of G. See. So the index value of G, what it is doing, it is excluding the character G as the end index is 2. So in order to access the character, whatever the character you want to access, you have to just add on a +1 into the index value. Hope this is clear. Now let's understand what is a step size used for in a slicing. Suppose I want to access the word logical, but in a way that I just get the words L, G, C and L as my output. Suppose I want the output as L, G, C and the last L. We want this output. Let's see. What would be the very first character index value? Yes, that's correct. It's 0. Followed by what is the end index or the last character index? It is the end of the string. So if you want, you can provide the index value of L, or that is by adding a +1 into the index value, or you can just keep it empty. As keeping it empty will instruct the program that they can access till the end of the string. So better to keep the empty. It's a good practice to do. And as we want to skip one character after the first character we access, then we will be writing the step size as 2, and here we have the output. Now suppose I just want to access the word CAL, that is cal. What are we trying to access? Let's write it here. CAL is what I want the output. Just pause the video for a minute think about the index values you will be passing. Hope you have the answers ready with you. Now let's just count the indexes manually. Now L will be our 0, O will be 1, G is 2, I is 3, and RC is at 4th index. So start index will be 4, followed by length of the character, that is we want to access till end of the string. And the step size, obviously we don't need to provide the step size. Why? Because we want to access the progressive characters. So by default you can provide the step size as 1. Even if you don't provide it, it is not going to make any difference because you are going to get the same output. So you can just pass the start index excluding the end index and you have the desired output, CAL. Now suppose I just want to access the word logic, LOGIC. Now as you know, the index value of L is 0 and that of C is 4. Now let me know what should be the start and index value. Correct, 0 should be the start. It's 4 is the index value of 5, so we have to add plus 1 into it. So 5 will be our end index, and here we have the output logic. Hope this simple indexing kind of a thing is clear with you. Now let's move on to the next part of slicing. We have even the negative slicing. So let's understand what is a negative slicing. So as we know how the negative indexing works, so slicing will be also done in the same way. That is from the end of the string, it will move to the start of the string. So let's understand it. Now suppose I have taken the string S2 with the string value as program. Now let's try to access the string by using the negative slicing. Now as we know, negative slicing will start from the end character of the string. So our end character in the string S2 is M. So if you want to access M, you can simply write S2 of -1 and here you have M. Now let's suppose you want to access the word G. What will be the negative index value of G? It would be -1, -2, -3 and -4. Index value of G, yes, that's correct, it would be -4 and here you have the G. Now suppose you want to access the character P. What will be the index value of P? Just think for a minute. Yes, that's correct, it's -7. Here we have, this is a simple example of how you can access a word in a string by using the negative slicing. Now let's go in depth. Now suppose you want to access a particular range of characters, because we know slicing is used to access a range of character. Okay, so suppose now I want to access this word gram. How I can do it? So I know G's index value is -4. The index value of M is -1 and here I have. Let me know what's the mistake here I have done. Yes, that's right, because we know the index value and index value, whatever we are going to provide, it is going to exclude the character at that particular index. So if I am just excluding the -1, here I have the index, here I have the desired output which I wanted. I wanted to access gram. Correct? Now let's suppose, let's just copy it here. Now let's suppose I want to access the word program but in a negative manner, or I want to print the program in a reversible manner. Like we have the word gram, I just want to reverse the word gram. So what should be the output? If I'm reversing the word gram, it would be MARG. Correct? Now let's see how we will be able to get this desired output. So just we have to use the negative step indexing here with the negative step size. I will just tell you how. So let me know what will be the index value of M. Correct, it would be -1. followed by what would be the index value of G in case if you're going in a negative indexing. It would be -4, correct? But as we know, end index value we have to add +1, so we have to pass -5 followed by a -1 index, a -1 step size. And here we have the desired output as marg. We have just reversed this string graph. In the same way, you can just reverse the whole string. I will tell you how. Just write s2 of, don't pass anything with the index values and just go -1. And here you have just reversed the string totally. So I just hope this indexing and slicing concept is a little bit clear in your mind now. So just to revise whatever we have seen in a quicker way, I will be just taking a small example here with the sentence. Now suppose let's consider this sentence as to, let me know if I want to access I, what will be the index value? That's correct, it would be 0. Suppose I want to access the word R in a negative step size. What will be the index value? That's true, it would be -1. Now suppose I want to access the character G but in a negative indexing value by using negative indexing. What do you think would be the index value? Yeah, that's true, it would be -6. Here we have, going good. Now suppose we want to access the word data from the string. So now let's go ahead with the start index and index value. So now for getting the index of these values, you have to calculate this space as one index. That is, if I is your 0th index, then this space will be at the index 1, A will be index 2, M will be index 3. This second space will be index 4. This would be index 5. The space will be index 6, and the word the character D will be index 7. Now you want to access only till data. So 7, 8, 9, 10 and just add 1. Here we go, we have the word data. Now if you want to access this whole string from data to data scientist engineer, you can just remove the end index value and you have the whole string data scientist engineer. Okay. Now suppose you just want to access the word engineer in a negative indexing. What would be the index? What would be the index you will be passing? It would be -8 is to -1, or you can just keep it blank and you have the word engineer. Now suppose you want to print this word engineer but in a negative indexing, you can go ahead with -1 as your start index, followed by -9, followed by -1. And here you have the word engineer in a negative by using the negative slicing. So that's it all for string slicing and string indexing in short. In case if you have any queries, do let us know in the comment section and we will be happy to answer them. If this video has helped you in enhancing your knowledge at any point, please do like, share and subscribe to our videos. Press the bell icon not to miss any updates. Stay tuned. Thank you for watching.